Imagine that you have a project, okay, and you are in the beginning of the project. What should you do with the people that you are projecting to, or the people who are destined to be your users? What are the agents in the city? What do you think that they are the people that you should to address to in order to elaborate your project?
We are not here to create something that we think is nice or would fit to the place. We're actually here to help the people. So who could we talk to in the first place? It's the people who live there.
We talk with these communities and we want to hear what they have to say, and then we want to try to fulfill their wishes. But then we are also supposing that they know what they want. Can you imagine a situation where people think they might want something and that'll be nice for them, but where the architect who has a lot more knowledge in people behavior, because that's what we study, could overrule? I don't know this, but I think it might be interesting to discuss like who actually knows best, and is it are we allowed to overrule wishes if we're convinced, like based on other experiments, that we might be able to give them something different that they didn't know they wanted until they got it.
We have a design law perspective, which is kind of interesting, and we have architect perspective maybe. So this open question, it was that many times architects, they don't have the time to make the correct research. Okay, and many times you are only focused on the inhabitants and you forget all the publics that they could probably be in the same land and be in connection to your work.
In the 1970s, all the cities thought that what they wanted was really wide roads so that they could have unhindered transportation and so that people could get quickly from the suburbs and into the city. Well, it may be that you think that wide roads and unhindered traffic is the road to, or is a way to creating a good city, but actually, if you study human behavior, people are much better off having more walking spaces or more plazas and more squares. So he went against the current, and now 2010, he's working in 42 different cities on getting the cars out. So he kind of saw what people wanted before they knew that's what they, or needed before they knew that that was also what they wanted. So now today, what we're doing is kind of, we are again asking people, what do you want? And then we're trying to give them that in the same way we gave them roads in the 70s. But could we imagine that there is like an even better option that people can't see yet, but that we, through studying the human behavior, could find?
We are talking that before we start making any kind of project, we have to plan and make a target map, targeting all the different publics that they will be intervening in our project, right? But what could happen, in your opinion, or what is your experience, that it will be as well good to share, if we don't make a good mapping?
You find a problem that needs to be solved and you don't know how to solve it, then maybe somebody else should help you, not another architect or designer, maybe somebody that really knows more about the problem, has experience with the problem. You're just called there to resolve it, and if you don't know, then ask. It's not a big deal. I mean,
what I want to say is just that if we make a process like open data and everybody can know about it, maybe we can also manage mistakes that we do.
I was working with an American architect. He arrived in Paris and he was expected to build something. He was hired for that, but he was not French. He had no any information about the French culture, and even less of Paris culture. He started with a beginning of American mind, big things, lovely things, expensive things, design, a kind of inhuman thing. But the people who received it, it was completely against of the project because it doesn't describe what they were, what they are.
I think that this is one of the points that distinguish art from architecture, and I don't see that a good architect would come to any town in the world and just build something for his own ego, you know?
A lot of the time, the problem with egos is actually a problem of the clients, and they can say, oh, I want my company to look really amazing, build me a really huge tower, and then the architect doesn't really have much choice.
The problem is that architects ask the wrong questions. We're not supposed to ask, what do you want? You don't ask the client, what do you want? And you don't ask the people, what do you want? You maybe ask them, well, what do you do? Or what does your day look like? Or what do you have right now? And then based on like finding out everything around it, you decide what is in the middle of the circle. Because the problem is, if they from the beginning put the middle of the circle over here, they may not realize that all that surrounds it is actually on this part of it. And by not asking what do you want, you're also sure that you never not give them what they said they wanted.